Hi there, welcome to the first episode today of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is quite a vulgar, disgusting situation where a Labour MP got preferential treatment in an NHS accident in the emergency room because of her views on Palestine. Now, I was on the phone to a friend and he told me about this story, and although I do trust him implicitly, I thought he might have been exaggerating as he was reading out this story, but it is indeed a true story. In the Mail Sunday, the Mail online right now, and just uploaded. Sorry, take your pardon. It was uploaded last night, just before 11 o'clock, and it's pretty frightening. So the headline is Eden Confidential. My Gaza ceasefire vote speeded up my NHS care, says MP Jess Phillips. And this is just blow your head stuff. The moniker Two-Tier Keir excuse me, already trips off many tongues, but will its usage in everyday speech now become irreversible? I ask because of a remarkable disclosure by one of Sir Keir Starmer's government ministers, Jess Phillips, the loquacious Labour MP for Birmingham Yardley. Speaking at an event unambiguously billed as An Evening with Jess Phillips, held at the Kiln Theatre in North London, Phillips recounted an episode from her personal medical history which suggests that it may not just be the policing which should be guided by a two-tier approach, but also, perhaps, treatment dispensed by the National Health Service. Describing a distressing episode when she was having trouble breathing. My lips had gone blue and I couldn't breathe, she recalled. Phillips, 42, explained that she'd sought urgent treatment at an A&E in a Birmingham hospital. She was greeted by scenes of appalling overcrowding. I have genuinely seen better facilities, health facilities in war zones in developing countries around the world, the minister continued. Nevertheless, eventually she got to the front of the queue. But this, she said, was undoubtedly for two reasons only. I got through because of who I am. Also, the doctor who saw me was Palestinian, as it turns out. Almost all the doctors in Birmingham seem to be. While in opposition, Phillips resigned from Labour's front bench to vote in favour of a ceasefire in Gaza, 5 weeks after Hamas terrorists killed 1,200 Israelis, many of whom were mutilated or raped, and took 120 hostages. Her vote, she said, was the other reason that she received preferential treatment. He was sort of like, I like you voted for a ceasefire. Because of that, I got through quicker. Far from reflecting on how MPs who voted against a ceasefire, still less a Jewish citizen, might have fared, Phillips, whose majority at the last election plummeted from 10,659 to just 693, with George Galloway's Workers' Party in second place, continued her account of her treatment. She declines the opportunity to comment further, evidence, presumably, of a two-tier policy on speaking her mind. So what's happened here is the newspapers obviously asked her for comment, she's declined. So the two-tier policy on her speaking her mind is obviously evidently dictated by whether you've paid for a ticket or not for a night with Jess Phillips. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Imagine not only being... Has she taken advantage of a situation? Well, no, the other person has put that in front of her, right? So the situation, I kind of understand how it happened. Some other guy seen who she was and thought, I like her because she voted for the ceasefire. So that's his fault, no hers, right? I get that. But she took advantage of the situation. She allowed it to happen. She could have said, no, there's a queue, whatever. And that's a tough one, right? I get that. However, to sit in public and recite that story just blows my mind. Absolutely. That tells you all you need to know about Jess Phillips. It's all, look at this, and how groovy am I, and it's great, isn't it? And Free Palestine and all that bollocks, right? So she's sitting in this room with people who have, I would imagine, bought tickets to an event billed as an evening with Jess Phillips. And is quite happy to discuss that. Then when the newspaper call up and say, listen, this doesn't look too good, and we're going to write this story, can we have some comments? Evidently what's happened is, she said, no, I'm not talking to you. Probably put the phone down. And you think, why would you, under any circumstances, think it's fair game for you to sit and recite that story? Because you think that's all right. But then you think, I bet it wasn't too wise. So I'll no bother trying to defend myself in a newspaper article. And it just frightens the life out of me that this woman, we have people in the health service, doctor, evidently, Palestinian doctor, who decides who's going to treat based on their political views on a conflict in another continent. And we've got people in Parliament, in government, that think it's all right to share that as well. This whole story is absolutely disgusting. Who do these people think they are? Now, I'm quite angry at the doctor, because, you know, he's taken a Hippocratic oath, I would imagine, even though he's a Palestinian doctor. And you should be treating everybody. But to queue jump somebody because they voted on a ceasefire in Gaza is actually quite sick. And as the paper points out, how would that be if it was an MP that had voted against the ceasefire? Or indeed someone who was maybe evidently an Israeli citizen or potentially Jewish. Does that mean they get a different type? Well, obviously, because he can't queue jump everybody. So it's clear evidence in that situation that there was a two-tier process in place. God forbid Jess Phillips had been an MP who'd voted against the ceasefire, or indeed someone who'd have been Jewish or an Israeli, or both. How would they have been treated? In an NHS hospital in the United Kingdom, in Birmingham, right in the centre of the United Kingdom. It just beggars belief, absolutely beggars belief. And somebody that stupid, right? Now again, I'll reiterate what I've said earlier. She didn't instigate the problem. And I suppose the righteous thing would have been said, no, I'll wait my cue, right? But I think what she done was wrong, but I kind of understand it, right? So let's just put that out there. The lips are blue, you're in difficulty breathing. A wee doctor says, I know you, you're a good person, I like the way you voted in that situation. Come on, I'll help you first, right? The right thing to do would be to say, no, sorry, doctor, I'm in a queue. I'm number 14 in the queue, not number 1 or whatever it would be. But she didn't. So, technically I think that was wrong. But you're ill, you're in a hospital, it's no nice. We've all been there. But she chose not to do the morally correct thing. And I'm not saying she made the right decision, I'm not, but I understand why she made that decision. But then he sat in a public forum and retell the story. It's completely insensitive, at best. Completely. To the tens of thousands of people every day across the UK that sit in A&E waiting rooms for longer than Jess Phillips, because Jess Phillips voted for a ceasefire and a fight in a different continent and gets preferential treatment in our NHS system, which is on its arse. But if you vote for a ceasefire in Gaza, it's not just as bad than if you didn't. I don't recognise what the United Kingdom's becoming. And it's not a nice place. And the people in the United Kingdom need to make it better. Because these politicians ain't, regardless of what colour of rosette they've got on, they're not doing it. And I think 650 MPs sitting in Westminster, don't know how many I would have as pals and friends and people that I would say, yeah, you're a good guy, you're a good woman. Certainly Jess Phillips wouldn't be one, because she thinks this is all right. And if she didn't think it was all right, she wouldn't be talking about it in a public forum. So, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing and hitting the notifications bell. But most important of all, unless you're Jess Phillips, doctors in the NHS who cherry pick who they're going to give their care to, or anybody that thinks this is acceptable. See everybody else, have a great day. Cheery bye now.